Okay, we got to fight. Ian Fury is a spokesperson for South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, and he was reached out for comment on a topic that almost doesn't matter what the topic was, and decided to go like both barrels blazing at Ron DeSantis. And this is going to be about abortion, kind of, technically, but it's really about 2024, and that's what makes it so much fun. So he was contacted by National Review reporter Nate Hochman about the quote unquote transgender lobby in South Dakota. Fury responded with a lengthy statement rejecting any implication that Governor Noem is overly cozy with the major lobbying groups that helped kill a long line of anti-gender ideology bills in the state. But in a follow-up email, he pivoted to an unprompted diatribe, this is in the words of the reporter who reached out to him, about the contrast between Noem and DeSantis' records on the issue of abortion, which, and I can't stress this enough, is not what he had been asked about at all, or Florida, or any of this. He argued that Governor Noem was the only governor in America on national television defending the Dobbs decision. He then queried, where was Governor DeSantis? Hiding behind a 15-week ban. Does he believe that 14-week-old babies don't have a right to live? DeSantis, he continued, just terminated his pro-life secretary for AHCA, Simone Marsteller, the most pro-life member of his cabinet. Florida Right to Life is embarrassed by Governor DeSantis' record, so they invited Governor Noem to speak at their annual conference in October 2021. He closed out the email by speculating as to whether National Review was no longer pro-life, because that's the message you send by carrying water for Governor DeSantis. So, geez, like if I was Nate Hochman, I mean, I don't know Nate Hochman, this is for the National Review, probably a bad guy, but I don't know. I don't think he knew what he was signing up for when he reached out for a comment from Governor Noem. But anyway, look, it's technically the spokesperson. And we've yet to see what like DeSantis' spokesperson will respond with. But this is clearly initial little blows for 2024 from two people who are at the very least B, if not in the case of Noem, tier C candidates.
No, I love this because A, it has begun. Gentlemen, start your engines. In this case, ladies and gentlemen. Because number one, it's a fight between two potential 2024 candidates, and they're now finally hitting each other. I haven't seen Republicans hit each other in the presidential race since all the way back in 2016, and even then they barely hit Trump. And oops, that was a mistake. So here they are, and we're really early on, right? The primaries are in about a year, and this is the first real punch. So the fight has commenced. Also note, interesting, that it is not about Donald Trump. Now apparently Noem's camp thinks Trump is not relevant and they're hitting DeSantis, okay? Now, by the way, be careful with that strategy. That's what happened in 2016 when no one hit Trump and they just hit each other, and next thing you know, Trump won. But it is interesting that she thinks the water is safe to attack other potential Republican candidates, okay? And if she thought, no, Trump's gonna win this thing, even showing that you're interested in running would have been a third rail. So that it does go to diminished power for Trump for sure, okay? Now, John, though, the National Review, yeah, it was a bit, if seemingly random, how much this guy, unleashed on DeSantis. I don't know if it was Ian Fury or Nick Fury. But it is not as random as it looks. Almost all of right-wing media is blanket supporting DeSantis.
That's true.
So I think that, for example, you said it'd be interesting to see what DeSantis is gonna reply. My guess is not gonna reply at all. You know why? Because he doesn't need to. He has right-wing media doing his work for him.
Yeah.
It's like finally a wall has been built, but it is to protect Ron DeSantis. So they were writing an article to randomly crap on Kristi Noem on the transgender issue when don't worry, she hates transgender people just as much as other Republicans do. And she said, you couldn't control your lobby in South Dakota. And what a random weird attack against Noem, right?
Yeah, that's
and it's
true.
done on behalf of DeSantis, and that's why Nick's brother Ian sends this fiery response back.
Yeah,
Adrian.
I find it very entertaining to a certain extent. I used to teach media messaging, and in that was teaching people how to pivot when they didn't like the question. And this was a hell of a pivot. It was damn near an about face with maybe an uppercut in it. It really told you that this is what I want to talk about, and this is what I'm lashing out about. And I just don't think it's that great of a look for Noem. And I think you're absolutely right, Cenk. I do not think DeSantis is going to engage in any way, because as you mentioned, he has right-wing media on his side. But I just definitely don't think this is the way to go about it in terms of being so aggressive to the point where you just kind of look not only out of pocket, but kind of like you're not necessarily working with a full deck. But if that is the way in which Noem's people want to go, God bless her. I just don't know how far the Lord will deliver them blessings.
Yeah. I want to add just one more thing, because it's something that I had missed that happened last year at CPAC, actually. And I guess what I'm gonna read for you makes what you just saw, the second hit against DeSantis from Noem, because we did have one earlier, and it represents, I think, a much more significant potential weakness for DeSantis. Who knows if it'll end up mattering, but the idea that you're attacking him for a 15-week ban because he should have done a 14-week ban, it seems a little bit weak to me. I think most Republicans believe that Ron DeSantis would make abortion illegal across the entire country if he had the chance to. But back in March of 2021, you had CPAC, and during their straw poll for 2024, one in which that did not include Donald Trump, by the way, Noem actually placed second after Ron DeSantis, which is interesting. And at her speech at that event, she said, "What we've got Republican governors across this country pretending they didn't shut down their states, that they didn't close their beaches, that they didn't mandate masks, that they didn't need to issue shelter-in-place orders." Now, I'm not picking fights with Republican governors. All I'm saying is that we need leaders with grit, that their first instinct is to make the right decision, that they don't backtrack and then try to fool you into the fact that they never made the wrong decision. And that, there's a couple people that could in theory be about, but it pretty clearly is Ron DeSantis for very briefly and begrudgingly shutting down Florida and then eagerly opening it back up and allowing as many Floridians as possible to needlessly die from COVID.
Yeah, and she's also referring to Abbott. By the way, South Dakota, one of the few states that had a worse death rate from COVID than Florida. So she's literally bragging about how many more people she got killed than DeSantis. But guys, I'm gonna disagree with you guys a little bit. One, she's getting media attention. If everybody's supporting DeSantis and it looks like it's a coronation, you've got to somehow get media attention. So I think that's the right place. Second of all, remember, Republican voters love anything that's vicious.
That's true.
Yeah, so when her guy viciously attacks DeSantis and takes a more right-wing position on abortion, they're gonna like both of those things. Don't think in terms of us, think in terms of the voters they're trying to reach. But finally, speaking of voters that we want to reach, we're doing a super random poll on this story. We started with the catfight intro, which we've used many times before, and we're wondering now, is it a little out of date? There was like, if there were two women in the story, we'd have never run the intro, okay? In this case, there was one woman in the story. A lot of times when we were on the
second, it was technically
two guys,
men, but
there was a woman behind the guy, right? But often we run it with two guys, but still, catfight, it's a good question. I don't know. That's what we're asking. If I knew, I wouldn't ask you. Should we stop doing the catfight intro? Yes or no? tyt.com/polls. Let the American people decide. And the results of this poll will be binding. Okay.
Like, just in case the vote goes wrong, Bart's like, no, we're doing it again. Or actually, I guess it wouldn't have been Bart. But
we got one more. Adrian, what do you think?
Well, about the catfight intro?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask Maverick, but I don't know. Well, hey, he's right here bothering me. But as far as the intro goes, I thought it was relatively gender neutral by virtue of the fact that there were male faces on it. But if there is something synonymous that would be, I guess, not conjuring up some kind of sexist thing, then go for it. But otherwise, it didn't bother me.
I think we could come up with a cool new segment that gets across the same idea. That's my view, but it is a funny intro. I do like, it's so old school. Sarah Palin's on it.
Yeah.
Like that's when it was made.
I know. So by the way, we'll have the link to the poll in the description box below. Go ahead and tell us what you think is the right direction. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships.
You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.